Last time we completed everything that we could possibly do inside of this single chunk. Today we are moving on to the second chunk of the account. This is ChunkWizard. He wants to explore the entire map of RuneScape, but what he doesn't know is that the map is divided up into chunks, and he needs to do every task within a chunk before he's allowed to move on to the next one. So come with me as ChunkWizard explores RuneScape one chunk at a time. So, now that we have completed the Wizard's Tower, we can make our way into the South of Draynor village. I can click twice on it and unlock it, which means that I can now, this is gonna be tricky, calculate my new tasks. Let's take a look at the chunk tasks that we do actually have, because they're not easy. Number one is level 35 cooking. We need to brew a jug of wine. Next up we have gaining farming experience from the struggling sapling event in forestry, and this is a bit of an issue because this chunk also contains the farming cape, and the chunk locker mechanisms assume you have a way to get farming XP and a goal to go towards with farming XP, that being 99, so you're gonna need to get the entire skill cape. Obviously, we're not doing that. I will get back to what I'm gonna be doing around the farming cape a little later on in this video. We need level 30 firemaking for burning willow logs, that's gonna be fairly easily attainable. We need level 46 fletching for making steel bolts. And while it might seem like if we're going to be doing a lot of wood cutting anyway, a fletching grind probably won't be that big of a deal. There is one minor issue here, and that is that this chunk just doesn't have a knife in it. So the only way for me to train fletching is insane. We need to gain some hunter experience off of the poacher event from forestry. Something similar to the farming cave happens here, where this chunk also contains a spawn for implings, and it says I can get hunter experience, even if it is an abysmal amount, and I have a level 99 task to barehand a lucky impling, so it thinks that I need to go do that. And I disagree. If I ever unlock direct access to Puro or a somewhat more reasonable way to grind hunter in general, we might look back at this and start thinking about getting that 99 hunter at some point. Not of a forestry though. And if you think that is indefinitely pushing away the impling grind, because when are you ever gonna get to Puro? The chunk directly north of this one has access to Puro. So after this chunk, there's actually a 50% chance that our next grind is going to be implings. But at least in Puro, I'll be able to get in the neighborhood of thousands of XP per hour rather than tens or hundreds. Level 26 ranged to wield the iron bolts. We need level 49 smithing to make a bullseye lantern unfinished, within a chunk that has no furnace. We'll talk about strategy in a moment. We need 38 thieving for a Lumbridge and Draynor diary task. At level 35 woodcutting, we can make the Sakatura attachment, which I think is a forestry thing I'm not super familiar with. And then we get to our best in slot stuff. Before we do any of that though, I want to go ahead and do something that I've wanted to do for the last 150 hours of my life. And that is using a bank. We've got a bank. It's been 150 hours stuck without a bank. Look at the beauty of this interface. I can press this button and my inventory is empty. I am way too excited about this. So first things first, to even begin our woodcutting grind, we're going to need to take the axe from this log, at least for a little while, because our steel axe, as I mentioned before in a different video, actually doesn't work until we get to woodcutting level 6. So that's going to be quite important. And let's just start by ticking off a handful of easy chunk tasks. Number one is we need to go kill a zombie down in the Draynor sewers, because we need to do a handful of diary tasks in this chunk as well. Pickpocketing the Master Farmer and cutting down a willow tree being both skill tasks as well as achievement diary tasks. But down in the Draynor sewers, we will find a zombie that we need to kill, which is also part of the diary tasks, and that also immediately leads us into the major problem of this chunk. Level 24 zombie. This is gonna be easy. Immediately HP and a combat level. Okay. I think these might actually be dealing less damage against me because my better armor than the wizards did. So grinding these out is actually going to be a whole bunch easier. Chunk task number 1 complete. This zombie also, however, has a 1 in 64 chance of dropping a tinderbox, which is one of the items that we need to get started with the fire making grind anyway. So we're gonna get that. Now, these zombies are also the reason that I need to get that smithing grind going, because these zombies, annoyingly, drop both copper ore and tin ore. The level 13 ones drop copper ore in a 1 in 64 rate, while level 24 zombies drop tin ore in a 1 in 128 rate. Along with the capability of getting fire runes and nature runes, and the fact that I have a magic level, means that I can cast super heat item on them and craft bronze bars. So that gets me at least up to being able to smith anything bronze. Then there's also skeletons down in this sewer, which can drop iron ore, meaning that that smithing grind then gets extended all the way through everything iron. Skeleton drops also include bronze bars pre-smelted, which may be more beneficial for me to grind with, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in a dedicated video to this smithing grind. But that's not everything. Up on the surface there's a single Black Knight, and the Black Knight can drop steel bars, and that is really where the issue comes in. Because that is what is triggering my insane smithing grind all the way up to level 49 to craft a unfinished bullseye lantern. But the only way for me to even get there in the first place is to make my way up through the bronze and the iron grinds. So if you thought the amount of wizards that I had to make my way through before was a lot, well, at least these zombies, in a way, already are dead. There's also one chunk task that I did not mention because it got regenerated after I finished up all the previous chunk tasks, and that is getting a cabbage cape instead. Because of course the farming cape is no longer a thing that it considers as one of my chunk tasks, because I actually fixed that now. The cabbage cape is the next best thing, and we get that from a NPC, I think you sell it, right? The cabbage cape, which is actually the first cape on the account. So let's wear it, and we have a chunk task complete, and it didn't do an animation for it, so let's redo that. And that cabbage cape is one of our best in slot tasks. The other ones being steel plate legs, the Twitcher's gloves, the steel knives, and a steel mace, all of which hook into either the smithing grind or the forestry grind, which we're going to be exploring throughout the rest of this chunk. But let's think this through, because we're going to be needing a lot of combat to go through this chunk, just like we did before. For wizards, we started with flinching, then upgraded to kind of cheesily getting food, and then upgraded to prayer. So am I just going to prayer flag my way through all this as well? Well, no, for a couple of different reasons here. Number one is that we actually kind of have access to options for food. We're going to need to look for them, we're going to need to find what is most optimal, but we actually can legitimately get food. We can, however, not legitimately get prayer points, because we still don't have an altar, and the only way to reset prayer points is to die. And more importantly, I simply do not feel like prayer flicking another 10,000 plus kills of anything if I can help it. So our current mission is looking for a source of food. I was kinda hoping that we would be able to get a fishing rod or a small fishing net inside of this chunk in any sort of way, and I think there might be a possibility for us to get one of those. Because if I'm not mistaken, I'm gonna check this on the wiki in real time, but I think imps, which there is an imp spawn within this chunk, have a chance to drop a fishing net. They in fact do not. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's real bad. I probably should have seen that coming because there's no fishing tasks in the chunk. So yeah, the fishing is still off limits. The only food source we have still is chicken. Unless the Ango sells us anything that we can use, but I kind of doubt it. I mean, he at least sells us the Cursed Goblin Bow, which isn't a good weapon, but it's technically a bow, and we technically can use it to fire arrows and get range experience. So at least there's that. Hold on, actually, there might be a better food source than chicken. I just realized. Because I can go into this house and there's a piece of cheese here. How much does cheese heal? Is it more than chicken? There's also a tomato. Oh, I'm eating good today. I've got cheese and I've got tomatoes. Cheese heals 2 and tomato heals 2. Yeah, no, that's not going to help me that much. It's a little less than chicken. It's a little faster to get potentially though. Because I can world hop and get inventories full of this stuff faster than I can kill and cook chicken. Hold on, I need to brew a jug of wine anyway, which I can get from stealing grapes from the wine stall. And then, oh, getting a jug of water from the imp. But I can reuse the jug. How much does a jug of wine heal, though? Because that might be something that we want to focus on if it heals anything significant at all. Oh, that's 11 HP. Okay. I think a jug of wine is actually what we're going to go toward for our food source. Because it's literally as easy as just stealing from this market stall, I think, which requires what level? Level 22, so that's going to be doable enough as soon as I figure out which person I can pickpocket to get the first levels off of. Actually, a fantastic question. Do we have any pickpocketable characters in this place? We should. I'll circle back to that. But then we can steal from this, get the grapes, process those into wine, and get an entire inventory worth hundreds of HP of healing. Okay, so that's going to be our food source. We're troubleshooting this in real time. In order to get there, I now need to figure out how in the world I'm going to even get thieving experience to get up to level 22, though. I guess the way to do that would be through forestry, because I think the pheasant event gives you thieving XP. I think that's the only way for me to start training thieving, because can't pickpocket you. You only level 38 for that. Yeah, can't steal from this, level 27. None of you are just normal men and women, so I can't pickpocket you. And I think there is an NPC like up here that I could pickpocket, but that's just outside my chunk, and I don't think... Hold on. Ah, you have a name. I hate you. I think just over here somewhere there is something that I could have pickpocketed, but it's outside my range. Ah, that's not great, is it? And this is the moment that I realized that, in fact, the smithing grind itself isn't potentially even the worst part about this chunk. Because forestry, which seemed like a pretty quick and dirty thing to be able to do, opens up so many problems. But that also still doesn't explain to me how I get the first couple of fletching levels either. Because the only way for me to get up to level 9 fletching would be using a knife on normal logs. And there we have the first impling, man. That said, as my hunter naturally will increase through doing forestry, which I'm going to be doing a lot, I might be able to start catching some of these to just act as a little bonus, even if I said that they are not going to be part of the chunk tasks. There's got to be one of the monsters that drops a knife. What is your inventory like? You just sell wine. I still have to make one, don't get me wrong, but you just sell wine? What is a bottle of wine? Does that heal less? Does that heal more? It heals 14 and it can be straight up stolen from the stall. That makes our life so much better even. It heals more and it doesn't require me to keep processing the same thing over and over again. Oh, this is huge. There's only 2 per world, so like that's not great. But this, in and of itself, is almost a full inventory of chicken. I want you to realize, this is 28 HP. This is half my HP just healed with 2 items. Does Ned have anything to sell me? Surely you sell me knives. No, you only sell me ropes. I mean, at this point it's tempting, man. The jail guards don't drop anything aside from just bones. Do we have like a spawn in here? I don't think we do. No. The chunk picker isn't actually telling me where to get a knife, because the knife isn't directly tied to the chunk task itself. Is there any way for forestry to give fletching XP? Is that what it's expecting me to do? Oh my god, that is what it's expecting me. Yeah, that is what it expects me to do. A friendly ant will give me some fletching experience when it happens. That's how I get to level 9 fletching. There is no knife, which means there's also no other bows. I couldn't have made any bows to begin with because I don't have a way to get a bowstring. I realize now, so it really doesn't matter. But then how am I going to train ranged? reasonably because I can't make arrows. I've got 1,000 arrows to go through, yeah, but I can make bolts, but I don't have a crossbow. So I can't use the bolts that I make. Like obviously, even if I could make any sort of arrows, I would still need to smith those arrows, which would be insane to do. But I cannot make arrow shafts because I don't have a knife. Do imps drop knives? Imps seem like the thing that would drop knives, do they? They don't. They drop bronze bolts though, which again, I don't think I can use. Let's actually go check out forestry because I want to show you how heavy that is going to be. And for that, I think what we're going to do is very obviously switch over to a forestry world because that's the only way that I'm going to be able to do this to begin with. Let's equip the iron axe that we got from the zombies and drop everything else off into the bank, and then I guess we just start chopping trees. There's nobody here for forestry reasons. That's gonna suck. But yeah, we start doing some wood cutting. I need to make my way up to level 30 in order for those willows to become available as any reasonable way of training the skill to begin with. But the fact that I'm in a forestry world and nobody's actually doing forestry in this area is kind of worrisome, because I thought that this was going to be a pretty common spot for people to be doing forestry in. Maybe I just need to go to a more populated world. I'm on a UK world right now, but it is 10:30 p.m. So let's go over to an American server where there's 1,900 people. Yeah, so we've got some forestry activity going on here. Okay, I'm saved. My ping is going to be terrible, but I'm safe. So at this point, let's take a look at forestry. Forestry is supposed to be a thing that just makes woodcutting a little bit more engaging and a little bit more social, and that it kind of does. Whenever you're woodcutting within a group within a certain radius of each other, the larger that group is, the higher the chance of every so often a forestry event spawning. There's a bunch of different forestry events ranging from dismantling traps to stealing eggs from pheasants, giving these little endlings a little haircuts, and a bunch more. All of these will reward you with anima bark, a currency specifically for forestry. Doing this in a forestry world where you will get somewhat regular events will get you about 600 to 1,000 anima bark per hour. So how much do I need? Well, for my chunk tasks, I need to buy the Twitcher's gloves, the cape pouch, the felling axe handle, the fox whistle, the pheasant egg, and the log basket. All told, added together, that's 170,000 anima bark that I need. So if you do the math, that's about a 200-hour grind. But it's not quite as bad as that, because the fox whistle and the pheasant egg actually aren't things that I need to buy. Both of these actually are rewards from individual forestry events that also just can be bought. Their purchase price is 75,000 anima bark each. So if I don't need to buy these and just naturally get them from the events, which is fairly likely to happen before I get to the 75,000 anima bark mark anyway, that means that I actually need 150,000 less. So we go back down to only 20,000 anima bark. All told, that means that the grind is closer to a 20 to 30 hour grind. So why am I making such a fuss about this forestry thing? A 30-hour grind for a chunkman is nothing. And yeah, that's true. But forestry itself isn't a problem. It is the gates that it opens. Because many of these forestry events give token amount of experience in different skills. I've already talked about how one of them can give you farming experience, and that makes the chunk picker think that I should get 99 farming. We've already agreed that I'm not going to be doing that, but some events are capable of giving you fletching experience and thieving experience. Also in amounts that really don't constitute it being a training method, but the respective levels that I need for those to do anything within this chunk are much more within the bound of reasonability. We'll get a little bit more into the experience rates and actually how long this is going to take me as that becomes a bit more relevant though. For now, suffice it to say that it's going to be taking a while. And hey, we're starting off 2026 real good because we handily made it past the 1,000 subscriber goal that I mentioned before. So let's see if throughout the rest of this entire year we can make it to, let's say, 10k? But before we get all the way through that, let's try to make it to 2k. And statistically speaking, you watching this, yes, you, very likely aren't subscribed yet. So if you want to help me out getting to that goal of 2k and eventually 10k, go ahead and subscribe and we can go on this adventure together. With our first inventory of logs got though, I want to take care of one more thing before we commit to any long-term grinds. Because right around here we have an imp spawn somewhere. Just need to find it. Right over there, outside of my range. Actually spawns within here. So I'm going to need to world hop over and over and over again until I find a world where it's inside my border. And then kill it. And I need to kill it a bunch of times because I need to complete Imp Catcher now that I can do that. I need to kill imps anyway for a couple of drops. The exact spawning tile should be this one over here, if I see this correctly on the map. The thing is, I can't just hop to a world and see if it's on this specific tile or not. I need to actually look around to, yeah, okay, it's over there, so not within my range, and we just kind of keep going over and over again. I actually probably should tag him, just so that I can easily spot him in any world that I hop to. Oh, he's so close. Actually, oh, he's technically outside of my chunk. But as long as I don't step outside my chunk, I think we can make a reasonable argument that I'm good to go. I just need him to not drop his item there because I don't have any lure rooms to telegrab. Yeah, that could be a problem, couldn't it? I'm on the edge of my chunk. I can lure him in. And then I can switch to... No. Yes. Okay. I can switch and I can one-hit him. Okay. Then he should be respawning over there. Ball of wool. I don't really care. But from here on out, it should be relatively easy to just kill the guy over and over again. I think... Oh, there we go. Yeah. Okay. I've got his tile down to the... No, don't... Is that part of my... Is that part of my chunk? It's the red bead as well. I'm going to say that that's part of my chunk, and if you disagree, that's your problem. But I probably should be standing here just to prevent him from going in that direction. So what are the other drops from this guy that I actually want? I want the 3 beads, which are 1 in 25 each. I'm actually pretty lucky that I got one so early. Also, you can see that I'm recording this during Christmas time. Grain. I don't think I can do anything with that. He drops a hammer, which I need for the smithing grind and the fletching grind to make the bolts. He drops a tinderbox, which I can get from zombies as well if need be, so either way, that's fine. He drops shears, buckets of waters, jugs of waters. None of those I really need, I don't think. A pot of flour. I guess the pot of flour can be turned into dough. A mine talisman, which, boy, have I gotten a lot of those in the past anyway. Ashes, clay, berries, chef's hats. None of these I really care about, so the hammer is the only thing, and the tinderbox. We've got the tinderbox, so that's one of them. And then the beads. Aside from that, I don't really care about anything that this guy can drop. Actually, I'm gonna be sitting here for like 20 seconds between every single kill. It's only gonna take me like an hour. It's gonna be fine. I spent 150 hours killing wizards. An hour killing imps doesn't even register. That's the hammer. Okay, so we've got all the miscellaneous items that we need. And a bit of prayer XP, I guess. Never hurt anybody. No, where did he go? No! He went outside the chunk. Oh, this one is actually within the town. Hold on. We can do a thing. Don't you dare teleport away. You need to just die. Thank you very much. I thought that was a bead. I thought that was a black bead, but it's burnt bread. I hate being dyslexic. This one, he spawned in and he teleported right away. I hate you. At this point, I am seriously considering if it would be okay for me to go on my main account, get a stale baguette, which I believe always hits a 0, go into this other chunk, bonk him on the head, lure him back, and then let my chunk account kill him. Because the stale baguette is only like, what is it? I'm actually looking this up right now, but I think it's only like 600 or 700k. Yeah, 640k. That's, you know, actually kind of tempting to just go ahead and get. Never mind, I don't need to invest that money. I can just bonk you on that here, and that's a one-shot. Oh yeah, give me a bead. You got me 1 bronze ball. Also neat, I guess. I swear to God, if this one also teleports away the instant that it spawns, I'm gonna lose. What is with these imps? We've got another world. I repeat, this is not a drill. We've got another world, and it's another one-shot, and I'm just gonna stand here while he respawns. It's gonna take 30 seconds. There's no way that he's gonna just walk right out of the chunk in those 30 seconds anyway. It's gonna be fine. Don't stand too close because apparently they're scared of me. If this one also instantly teleports, I'm gonna delete my account. Okay, the account is safe. That's good. That's some killing myself berries. At least it walked into Draynor village. That's all that I need. White bead, okay. We're halfway there. Burnt meat. Every time I see something black, I just get so happy. And then I get so disappointed. Like, don't take that out of context. You know, this is one of those quests that on my main account, you just walk over to the GE, you type some things in, you throw some money at it, and you're done. Then on any normal Iron Man, you just kind of keep an eye out for imps, and then over a period of time, kind of casually, passively complete this. But this, far be it from me to say that this is going to be the most difficult grind in this chunk, because it won't be. It might be the most infuriating one, though. Somebody is killing an imp over there. Hold on. Somebody is killing that imp, and it's going to be respawning over here. That's actually huge. I don't know if they're going to be upset with me for killing the imp after this, but I kind of doubt that they're camping this specific spawn. Please don't come back here. Yeah, they're just casually woodcutting and they just decided to kill the imp because they're a normal Iron Man. And that's how normal Iron Man do this stuff. Meanwhile, I'm here camping an imp spawn spot like an insane person. There we go, it spawned. Thank you, whoever that was, for killing the imp for me. If this thing teleports away right now... Okay, thank you. A cabbage. Just gonna eat it. You know what? I was kind of kidding before with the stale baguette thing, obviously, but it strikes me that I 1000% could just kill this thing on a different account, and that would be totally fine, right? Yeah, let me open up my normal Iron Man, because that guy's also in Draynor Village right now. And you know what the best part is? That Iron Man also still hasn't completed Imp Catcher, so if I get a bead drop out of this on my main iron here, I'm fine with that. I need those anyway. I can live with that. I would just bring my main over with maxed melee stats, but he's hanging out at Frost Dragons at the moment, and I really don't want to leave. Yellow bead, okay, only one to go. Every single imp could be now the imp that frees me from this curse. I legitimately think that half of this video is going to be me standing here killing an imp. I don't know how much of this is going to get cut out. Like, is this sentence going to be in the video? Is this even real? Are we living in a simulation? I don't know, just give me the black bead and we'll be done with this, okay? Thanks! I'm gonna hate myself in editing for talking this much about such unimportant things that are gonna be cut anyway. Just to be clear, just the clip of me standing here killing this imp over and over again at this point is over an hour long and he disappeared. So instead of just making some clips when I get all the beads, now I'm gonna have to sift through a clip that's an hour long to get everything that's like relevant to the video. And me explaining this actually makes the issue worse. I don't know why I'm doing this. Black bead! Okay. That's, again, I don't know what is with my RNG. I've killed 43 imps. I've gotten all 4 beads, plus 2 bonus beads. I am too tired right now because it is 11:30 p.m. to do the math. But what are the odds of that happening? They gotta be super... Also, why is this chunk locked? Hello? Yeah, thank you. That's not supposed to be a locked chunk, like, at all. It's where I started. I'm going home. That's what I'm doing. And all this gets me a tiny bit of extra accuracy for my combat grind. But, it's something, I guess. He does his magic stuff, and we got some magic XP. Wouldn't that have been useful earlier? Anyway, we got a chunk task complete. We have the Amulet of Accuracy, which is another chunk task complete. It didn't actually register Imp Catcher, so that is another chunk task complete. And with that, we've gotten a pretty good start in our second chunk. I think from here on out, it's just a matter of racking up an insane amount of zombie kills and getting started with the actual forestry grind, which we'll be doing next time, because I feel like I've wasted enough time in this episode just bouncing about this village and figuring out the way that we're going to go. Done a couple of things. Let me equip my axe and get started with this.